My classic Christmas cake with a twist. It's entirely up to you which alcohol you use, rum, brandy, Armagnac. But what makes this really special is the flavour when you taste it. I love single malt whiskey. I always hang a big wreath on my front door each December. And inside, the aromas are just as welcoming. That's because I'm preparing a light, spiced and modern version of a classic Christmas cake. Now, I've got to be honest, I'm not a fan of Christmas pudding. Don't really like the flavour, but Christmas cake I really do like, mainly because my family used to make them when I was a young kid. Now, the recipe stays the same. It's entirely up to you what you put in it, dried fruit-wise, but I've got a mixture of sultanas, some currants, glacé cherries over here as well as some apricots, so you can mix and match the different flavours. But the first thing you've got to do is sort of macerate the fruit, and that's soak it in the alcohol. But you've got these nice, plump, dried apricots. They sort of absorb all that lovely alcohol. Add all the dried fruits to a bowl, along with some chopped stem ginger and a glug of your favourite spirit. Mine is single malt whiskey. We just put a small amount in. Just a little bit. And then you leave this so it plumps up. And every sort of half an hour you can go to the bowl and give it a sniff. Next, add the zest and juice of an orange. Give it a final stir, cover it with cling film, and leave the fruit to steep in the alcohol for at least 24 hours. To make the cake mix, start by creaming together 175 grams of dark brown sugar and soft butter, followed by 3 eggs. Now, if you're unsure, crack these into a bowl first, otherwise you're going to end up with bits of shell. And you add the eggs one at a time. If you add all the eggs all at once, the mixture separates and splits. It's a good idea just to drop it down a gear once you add the eggs, so otherwise it starts to spray it all over your kitchen. And let's be honest, I've got enough decorations in this place. Now put in a teaspoon of mixed spice and ground ginger. Add 175 grams of plain flour and then stir in your boozy fruit. Now, traditionalists and purists say, as you're stirring the mixture, you're supposed to make a wish. I shouldn't tell you my wish, but I'm going to do while I'm stirring this. I want a clutch assembly for a 1948 Maserati. If anybody's got one. Something about this, when you're making it, even before you put your Christmas decorations up, this is Christmas in a bowl. So just lightly mix that together. You've got this nice sort of texture, which is exactly what we're looking for. With your mix done, grease a ring-shaped baking tin with some butter and wrap the sides in baking parchment to stop it burning. Then pour in your batter and pop it in the oven to bake for 1.5 hours. When it's ready, let it cool slightly and then reach for the bottle again. Now, the key to a good Christmas cake is this next bit. You need to feed it like Christmas pudding. And to feed it, you feed it alcohol with whatever weapon of choice you want. And the idea is every week in the lead up to Christmas, so it's starting to soak in to that nice cake, to keep it lovely and moist. And then to glaze it, we make a simple icing. 200 grams of icing sugar, and then some glycerine or glucose. It's entirely up to you which one you use, but about a tablespoon-ish, which is basically just a sugar syrup. And then 1 egg white. And this is where you get the texture of this icing. You don't want the yolk, I just want the white. As the icing whips, loosen the cool cake from the tin with a knife and a gentle squeeze. Tip out onto a plate or cake stand, then give it another drizzle of alcohol. And then what we can do is then top it with this lovely icing. I'm not going to use a piping bag or anything like that. It's just really nice and rustic, and you just dollop it over the top. You don't want to start spreading this too much, otherwise it's just basically just going to rip the cake off. And you're going to do it bits of cake mixed in the icing. So put a decent amount on to start with. Grab yourself a knife, and we can then start to smooth it out. It's nothing too fancy. Finally, just to finish this off, I've got these amazing sort of candied fruits. These are pears, a little bit of pineapple, nice bit of orange, We just chop them up. When you get sort of candied fruit like this, it's so fantastic just to put it on whole. Just put a few of those on there. Satsumas, even kiwi as well. And there you have it, my classic Christmas cake with a twist. It's entirely up to you which alcohol you use, rum, brandy, Armagnac. But what makes this really special is the flavour when you taste it. I love single malt whiskey. It's very different to a traditional Christmas cake, which can be quite heavy, to be honest. This is much lighter, but by macerating that fruit in that whiskey, each mouthful, each bite, you get a real hit with that whiskey. That's a great cake. Moist, boozy, and intensely flavoured. This is a doddle to make, but impossible to resist.